Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in for our Facebook Live here today. We here at the Chamber want to get some resources and information out to you, so appreciate you doing that. I'm Chris Strayer. I'm the Executive Vice President for the Fort Worth Chamber, so happy to be here today. Wanted to introduce this new program, this Leaders Online program that we're unrolling here, which is all about a virtual learning session. So like what we're doing today with funding and unemployment and employment resources, bringing in a couple experts on that, and we'll get back to that a little bit more. Tomorrow, if you have not seen, we're doing yet another session tomorrow at 2 o'clock, which will be around setting up a virtual office. We know that a lot of companies are already doing that or looking at doing that, and so we want to supply some information on how is that done, what technology is necessary for that, and how do you effectively communicate with your staff, with your clients while working remotely like that. So that'll be tomorrow's discussion, so I hope you can join us again at 2 o'clock tomorrow. So I just wanted to take a second to give you a brief update on what the Chamber has been doing here the last week, 2 weeks, as we look at this time in our country and community. And so obviously one of the things is these sessions. We're going to continue to roll out these sessions, like I said, today, tomorrow, looking at more sessions next week. If there's particular topics that are of interest to you, then please let us know. Email those in, let us know, and so we can see if we can't put some programming around that. Also, from an advocacy standpoint, Rebecca Montgomery, our Senior VP of Advocacy, she's continuing to monitor federal, state, county, local governments and what's going on there. And so as we get information, as we see new resources and what we're hearing from our government partners, then we'll roll those out to you as well. Last thing I wanted to mention was our website. If you have not been to our website recently, we have a whole page dedicated to the resources and information for this particular time, this coronavirus. And so if you want to go to our website, right on the home page, you can click on that, takes you to that web page where we have information on, again, resources, direct links to Tarrant County, City of Fort Worth, other agencies like that to give you information. We also have a survey on there from the City of Fort Worth. They rolled out a new survey today, and so have that on there if you have time to fill out that survey and let us know how this is impacting you and your business. And then also the partnership that we have between Fort Worth HR and the Chamber of Commerce. If you are not aware of that, what we have done is partner with that Fort Worth HR group to provide a resource of HR professionals to answer some questions for you with your HR concerns. And so we have a link from our website that goes to their website where there's an online email submission form where you can email those in, and a panel of experts will report back to you on resources or the different government agencies or whatever it might be to help answer those questions for you. So with that, we'll move forward with today's session and get working on that. So the way this will work is we'll bring up our two individuals, and they're going to give a little bit of time just talking about their organizations and what their organizations are doing and seeing. And then we're going to start to answer some questions. So we've already had some questions emailed into us, and so please email, message those messages or questions into us, and we will do our best to get through as many questions as we can in the time we have possible. So the first speaker I'm going to introduce is Stephen Gonzalez. Stephen is the Business Services Director for Workforce Solutions of Tarrant County. And so he's going to be here to talk about workforce resources, unemployment from a worker, from a company standpoint, the different things they're seeing about what companies are hiring and how they're working together with those companies. So Stephen will give a talk about that. And then Herbert Austin, he is the District Director for the Dallas-Fort Worth District Office for the Small Business Administration, so the SBA. And so he'll be here to talk about some of those funding questions you might have. What can the SBA do? What programs are there? How do you navigate that? And so with that, I will bring these individuals up and we'll get started. But please, again, if you have questions, email them in, message them in, and we'll get to them as soon as we can. Gentlemen? So like I said, Stephen, why don't you go ahead and start and just give us an update of what's going on.
All right, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. So Workforce, I'll tell you a little bit about who we are for those that don't know, and then kind of roll into some things that we're currently working on at the moment. So we are Workforce Solutions for Tarrant County under the direction of the Texas Workforce Commission. We're part of 28 different boards across the state of Texas. And our board here specifically serves Tarrant County through a network of partners, and our primary goal is to respond to the needs of Texas employers and workers through design market driven workforce development initiatives. We partner with businesses and community groups to prepare the future workforce for in-demand jobs in industries and enhance the skills of the current workforce. We also help businesses find workers who have the skills and talents that they need and help people find better jobs at higher wages. In short, our job is to help Tarrant County residents get the assistance and training that they need to obtain employment and a career pathway of their choice. Our services are free and they are available to all eligible Tarrant County residents as well as employers. So that is, in a nutshell, kind of who we are and what we do. Currently, what we're working on is we are getting a lot of employers asking about what do they do in the case of having to lay off employees, things of that nature. And we have a rapid response program. And what that does is it's kind of our response to those business layoffs, the downsizing, closures, or restructuring. And what we can do is provide a number of different services to assist assist you guys with whatever those needs are. And from a company perspective, what we can do is we want to produce your help your productivity during this time, especially during layoffs. And we want to improve your worker morale. We want to decrease the likelihood of sabotage or work disruptions. We want to contain media and rumor management. There's just certain things that we can do. We can work with your public relations team. There's a variety of different things that we can do in response to that program. To the workers and the folks that might be laid off, what we can do is provide career counseling and job assistance. We can do resume preparation, information about the local job market currently right now, and I'll touch on that in a bit. We can give information about education and training opportunities, and then information on different health benefits and stuff of that nature. We are also working with we have a hand in a little bit of everything to include the Homeless Coalition. Our child care is still up and running as normal, and I know that's an important thing for employers across Tarrant County for their employees. Right now, our 6 centers, we have 3 of them that are closed. We have 3 that are open, but currently they are only, as of today, things are constantly changing, but as of today, we're only serving those mandatory customers that are enrolled into our system. So doesn't mean we can still provide services for anyone, any job seeker who is looking, and that could be done via our website virtually. So we have all of our many employees working from home, things of that nature to help you out with finding a job right now. Regionally, we're working with the North Central Board and the Dallas County Board to make sure that we're assisting the employers across a broad spectrum and making sure that we're fulfilling their needs from a layoff perspective, as well as those employers or companies that are hiring. Some of those companies right now that I'll mention that we are currently working with are Amazon, which they are hiring many people. So if you are laid off from, say, the service industry or the hospitality industry and you need something right now, Amazon is a quick hire. So we can help you and guide you through that process in partnership with them. We also have Lowe's, who is hiring. We have Costco that is hiring, and we also have many different supermarkets around the area that are looking to hire folks. And so if you need the help as a job seeker, please feel free to reach out to us. And there's a variety of ways you can do that. You can look at our website or social media for updates as they come, but to get in touch with us, or if anyone has any questions from an employer or job seeker's perspective, you can email us at info@workforcesolutions.net. Again, that's info@workforcesolutions.net. And if you want to stay updated with our information, you can text alerts to 817-413-4000. Again, alerts to 817-413-4000. And that will keep you up to date with any information that is coming down. Again, we are working in partnership with all of our community partners, with the Fort Worth Chamber and all regional chambers around Tarrant County, to make sure that we are all on the same page. So if a job, if there's a company that's looking to hire, we will pass that information along to the chambers. So we're working in unison, hand in hand, as well as regional other boards and stuff of that nature. So that is all I have for right now. I'm looking forward to answering any of your questions, and I'll pass it along to
Herb, go right ahead.
Yes. Good afternoon, and Chris, thank you so much for inviting us to join you today. I am Herb Austin. I am the District Director of the United States Small Business Administration in Northeast Texas. So not only do I cover Dallas-Fort Worth, but I'm sure the Chamber has members who are in other counties. So I cover 72 counties of Northeast Texas, and I serve about 850,000 small businesses in my district office. Now, to let you know a little bit about the SBA, for those of you who may not know, the Small Business Administration is one of the smallest agencies in the government, but with the most important mandate, in that we are the champion and advocate for 30 million small businesses of the nation. So the SBA provides 3 critical services. One is we help small business get access to capacity building. So we have a number of organizations that are funded by the SBA, or shall I say partly funded by the SBA, that are in your communities and that can provide counseling, training, business planning, feasibility study, etc. Help you with your plan before you go to a bank and access financing. So the second thing that we do is to help small business get access to government contract. The United States government is the largest purchaser of goods and services in the world. Every year, the government buys about $500 billion worth of goods and services. By statute, 23% of those purchases must be from small businesses, and my agency is the gatekeeper. My agency is the organization that is responsible to work with the buying agencies in the government to make sure that they meet that 23% threshold. So we are talking about over $100 billion in government procurement a year to small businesses. And the third thing that we do, and that's what brought me here, I think, to talk about, is the loan guarantee program. Often does a small business go to a bank, and the bank is uncomfortably saying, I cannot make that loan on a conventional basis, but if I can get a government guarantee, I can make that loan. So we provide a guarantee to lending institutions so they can make loans that they would have otherwise turned down. In my district office alone, for the past 5 years, we've done over $1 billion in lending. It's $1 billion in loan guarantees a year. And nationwide, we do about $30 billion for the last 5 years. But the most important thing now that I wanted to talk about, and I'm sure the questions will come, is our disaster loan program. We have a lot of small businesses that have been affected by that coronavirus. And we are here to assist them. We do have a specialized program called the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. The loan program is designed for small businesses that have been injured, that have been negatively affected by the virus. They will be able to apply. This is a direct loan from the government. It's not a guaranteed loan to the bank. So the small business that feels they have been affected can apply, and we do have a website where you can go in and apply online. Now, the program, give you some ideas, it's $2 million maximum that one can apply for. The term of the loan is 30 years to repay it. There are no fees, no bank fees, no guarantee fees, nothing of that nature. And you can actually apply online. It takes about a few minutes to put together a loan package. Then it's submitted online, and we have a whole office at SBA who does processing of these loans. So I look forward to hear from your questions. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that explanation. First question here, Stephen, you talk about Amazon and Lowe's and some of these other folks that might be hiring. So how does that process look like for the individual? They're contacting you, or are you just pushing them to that employer? Are you getting them to fill out the information and then submitting it? What's the timing look like?
Yes, so it could work one or two ways. Right now, we're working with those companies to input those job postings on Work in Texas. Work in Texas is the website where we direct employers to list their postings to apply for. So I encourage everyone who is looking for a job currently to register in Work in Texas, and you will see all of those job postings that are, and it will list whether they were posted within the last day or two or the last week, so on and so forth. So that is one way, but right now with certain employers that are like Amazon, they are wanting to see these people in person. So if they reach out to or on our website, and they can again email us, call us, we could provide that service and connect them with the employers as the employers need, if that makes sense. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay.
A question for you. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of new, discussion in Congress and Senate right now about some emergency bills and things like that. Obviously, you don't know when anything will be approved, but can we expect to see, a host of new programming, or just the beefing up of existing programming?
I'm not so sure the type of program we'll be seeing that may be new, but what they are trying to do, as you know, we provide guarantees on loans through the banks, and there is an interest to be paid on these loans. And I think they are trying to make it interest-free so that you can actually apply for a loan you don't pay any interest at all. So that'd be terrific for small business owners who have to pay about 7.5% right now for a loan. They have to pay a guarantee fee to the SBA, so does the bank. So they are trying to eliminate all these fees. But what is new is the economic injury disaster loan. That particular loan program, has only existed for when there is a hurricane, or when there is a major disaster, natural disaster That's the second time in the history of SBA that loan is being applied to a non-natural disaster. 9/11 was the first time, and now is the second.
Great. So another question we have here is, can you give examples of specific kinds of businesses that would be eligible for SBA assistance? So are there certain boxes that people have to check? Are there certain businesses that aren't eligible, or just comprehensive?
Very, very few industries are not eligible for an SBA loan. First of all, you must be, by our definition, a small business. And a small business is really broad. They represent 96% of all businesses in the United States. So most likely the applicant will be a small business by our federal definition. And any business can apply, very, very few. For example, you cannot come to the SBA and say, I need to build homes for rental purposes and I need money. I was in that business and it went down and we need money. So we don't do those. We do commercial. If you have an office and you want to renovate, you want to do work in your personal office, that is different. If you want to open a casino, for example, in your basement, and you need to buy the tools and equipment that are required, that's illegal, you cannot apply. If you have a bookstore where you're only selling Catholic book, for example, or whatever religion, this is ineligible. But I would say almost all industries can apply for a small business disaster loan.
Great. Another question about SBA. So on the SBA disaster loan assistance website, Texas is not specifically listed. So can people still apply, or is it just it hasn't been updated? What's the answer to that?
No, you cannot apply. There is a process, and that is what has been holding the process. SBA is good to go. However, the governor of the state has to request a presidential declaration from the president, naturally. And that has not been done by Texas. Unfortunately, I understand that it was done yesterday afternoon, so it's sitting on somebody's desk in Washington. So once that is done and approved, and it will be approved for 100% sure, once that happens, one can then go to our site and apply. But right now, if you go in, you can't. You can't because you're not an approved state yet, even though we have about 11, 12 states that have been approved.
Okay, so it's just a matter of time.
It's a matter of 2 to 3 days, they say.
So do they can't apply, but they can still reach out and get information and start the process with you in the anticipation that Texas is approved?
Absolutely.
Great. Another question was about startup businesses. So obviously you have startups or entrepreneurs and you have small businesses, but I mean there's entrepreneurs and startups. Do any of these programs apply to them?
Very much like the regular program at the SBA for guaranteeing loans, anyone can apply as long as you register. If you registered yesterday, you have a DBA, you can actually apply for SBA loan with the bank. So that will also apply for the disaster loan. Unfortunately, the disaster loan has certain requirements. Remember, it's a loan designed for companies that have been injured. Therefore, if you're just starting a company with no investment at all in the company, obviously you have no data, no past history. So you have nothing to show that you have been injured. So maybe if you're a couple of months in business, you may not really qualify for the program. But I would not ask anyone not to apply.
Great. Stephen, I'll go back to you just for a second. So how do companies versus employees think differently about the unemployment resources? I mean, I know there's some specific to the employee and training and things like that. The employer, what's the resources for them? Or is it more just an informational for those employees that they're restructuring?
Yeah, unfortunately, Workforce Solutions for Tarrant County doesn't necessarily deal with the unemployment. We guide them through Texas Workforce Commission, but we can pass along that information. But there is some changes or some new developments in that new bill that's currently in the Senate to help employers with the devastation unemployment assistance, just unemployment insurance. From an employer's perspective. So we're waiting, just like I think you are, to see what comes down from that bill and when it trickles down to the states through the different organizations. So again, as that comes along, we will be sure to connect with all of our community partners to give you the most up-to-date information on how, as an employer, you can take advantage of those support services.
Great. And then, back to you. So if a company has a specific banking relationship that they have right now, and you talk about the 7As and things like that, should they start that process with their bank, or they should be reaching out to you first?
Well, again, it's two different kind of loans. I've spoken to a constituent earlier and who said, Herb, I cannot wait for the declaration. Can I go to my bank and apply? And my answer is, your choice. But let me tell you what the guidelines are for each and every one of them. So if you go to you have a terrific relationship with your bank now, and you're saying to them, I've been losing money, I need a loan. Well, unlikely that you will get a loan when you showing losses, and generally speaking. Even though all the programs that we're talking about that are still in Congress, we plan to create a program to help those companies who are in distress But ideally, you are better off applying for a disaster loan program as long as your needs are less than $2 million, because keep in mind the interest rate is only 3.75% for the life of the loan, and the life of the loan is 30 years. So you have 3 years to repay debt. You're paying 3.75% interest rate that will never change. So you're better off. If you had a choice, I think you're better off taking a disaster loan than a regular loan.
Great. So 2 questions just came in about how do you evaluate economic injury? Is there a threshold? Is there a definition with the disaster loans that a company can understand and realize that they are economically injured, or how do they evaluate that? How do they quantify it?
Very simple. We look at 3 months of record, 3 months of the year. The company comes to us and said, for the past 3 months, I've been making $100,000. And since the start of the virus, my sales have gone down to 20,000. Bingo. You're showing that you have been injured by the coronavirus, but you have been able to show profit. You are making money. Now you are at such a loss as a result of, so obviously that automatically qualifies you for a loan.
Okay. But really the best way is maybe just to reach out to you and your team and have the conversation.
Absolutely.
Great. Another question, this is just a question that came in about what's considered a small business. So independent contractors, is that considered a small business, or is there something different for somebody who's not necessarily tied to a company?
As long as one can show that they've registered something, whether it's a contracting organization, whether you're a contractor, you registered somewhere, there is a record that you have financial information, that be a requirement, you've been paying your taxes regularly, your credit is terrific, yes, you can also apply.
Okay, great. What is the rate for paying back the loan? How does that work if this person doesn't use their own bank? I think we might have covered that, but if we can reiterate that, that'd be great.
Sure. For the disaster loan program, if you're a not-for-profit, by the way, you can also apply. So the chamber can apply, by the way. Any not-for-profit organization can apply, and their interest rate would be 2.75% for 30 years. If you are a small business, the interest rate is 3.75% for the life of the loan, which is 30 years. So this is a huge advantage in terms of a bank guaranteed loan that can be more costly, and the terms might be tighter for the small business to repay it. So we are very flexible in terms of repayment, 30 years that you may not need. The only difference is our limits on a disaster loan is $2 million per business, whereas a bank loan could be as much as you need. If it's an SBA guaranteed, it has to be under $5 million. So depending on how much money you need, you are definitely better off with a disaster loan.
Great. Now, what if a company has existing loans through banks and they want to consolidate those into maybe one SBA loan? Is that possible to take existing loans and consolidate, or is that not possible?
You cannot consolidate, but you can refinance a loan. So for example, a company may say, I want to refinance my loan, I want longer terms. As long as you can show that you will benefit from the refinancing, that can be done.
Okay.
But you can also have a loan with a bank that is not guaranteed by the SBA, and now as you want to consolidate with an SBA guaranteed, you can also do that.
Okay, good. How long generally after someone applies is it accepted, and do they receive the funding? How long is that process?
And I will answer your question, but I want to add, in case the question is not asked, the beauty of the loan, the disaster loan, is actually a government loan. It comes directly from the Treasury. There is no fees. There is no guarantee fees that you need to pay as you would on a guaranteed loan from a bank. There are absolutely no fees at all. Once you are approved for the loan, and you get your $2 million without to have to pay this, to have to pay that, to have to pay broker's fee. There is no such a thing. So that's a beautiful thing about the disaster loan program. And actually I forgot your question.
Oh yeah, no, so, sure. It's about just the timing from application
Yes.
to processing to receiving funding.
So they're saying, just imagine, this is the first time that we have a national disaster. And so we have an office that does processing of the loan. You know, in good times, they tell us a week to 2 weeks, but now it's not guaranteed because we have one single office in the entire country, happens to be in Fort Worth, that has to hire people, train people, so that they can get those loans out. So they are saying 2 to 3 weeks. But you just imagine those loans are going to come from all states. So I can imagine the volume of loans coming in. And 2-3 weeks, I'm hoping it takes 2-3 weeks to get an answer to the client to approve that loan and do the closing. Again, there are no closing costs either to close the loan right in the city, right in Fort Worth.
Great. And do the loans have any prepayment penalties?
None.
Right. Are these just loans, or can lines of credit for working capital be applied for as well?
Those are all just loans.
Okay.
Yes, because remember, keep in mind, these are injury loans. You know, the guy really needs the money now to hire people. He doesn't want to let the people go. He wants to pay them, so he needs the money. He may as well do some renovation because the hotel has been empty for a few days. Hardly anybody show up. So we need the money to be used for that purpose. In fact, in the application, you need to explain how you plan to use the funds. So you really need the funds. You don't need a line of credit. If you need a line of credit, you may as well go to your bank, because we also can guarantee a line of credit to a small business.
Great. So we talked a lot about loans. Are there any grant opportunities or?
And there might be. I know the governor declared an emergency as well, the government of the state, so he may come up with a program. The SBA at headquarters level, the president's level, they may be looking at something in the package of $1 trillion they're talking about, but right now there is none.
Okay. Great.
One opportunity I did see online, I mean, it's not through the SBA, but it's on social media with Facebook. They're offering up to $100 million for small businesses. It's a grant program, so if you wanted more information, I just Googled it, just put in Facebook coronavirus grant, and it will give you a source of information that you can go in and apply for that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So what is the best way, maybe this is probably a question really for both of you, and just to reiterate something I think was already said, you know, the best website link to go to pursue, whether it's the loan programs, whether it's getting connected with you, you know, what's your websites, what's the best website to get to? And this will obviously be something that we put on our websites as well as a direct link, but just to give you the opportunity to say that again.
But for the loan program, it's HTTPS, you know, the dot, the whatever that everybody knows about. It's disasterloan.sba.gov/ELA. I will repeat, one word, .sba.gov/ELA. And that's the only way SBA will be receiving application through that portal.
For Workforce Solutions, you can reach our website at www.workforcesolutions.net. Fairly simple. If you do have any questions, specific questions that you would like to ask once this is over, please, again, it's email at info@workforcesolutions.net. And if an employer or, which I highly encourage, any employer or company that is looking to hire some folks right now, or lay off, or you're thinking about laying off anyone, you can contact my department personally at businessservices info@workforcesolutions.net.
Great. Well, I think that answers all the questions we had come in. So thank you both very much for coming in.
Did I make?
Oh, yes, please,
quick-
absolutely.
As we're sitting here, I had an opportunity just pop up, and this is specifically for veterans. So if any veteran in Tarrant County is looking for, it's a temporary job, anywhere from 1 to 3 months, but it's with the Texas Workforce Commission, and it's working with their unemployed insurance department here in Fort Worth. So if you want more information on that, please info@workforcesolutions.net, and we'd be happy to, or visit our website, and we'd be happy to give you more information in that regard.
And I'd like to leave you with my number as well. It's 214-218-1579, and the email address is herbert.austin@sba.gov. Thank you.
Great. And like I said, we'll put all this information on our website. This video from today will be on our website. So for anybody who's online right now that would want to share that with any of their peers or colleagues, we'll make that available online as well. And then just a reminder that we'll be doing this again tomorrow at 2 o'clock, talking about setting up virtual office spaces, communicating with clients, staff remotely, and the best practices for that. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you again, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thank you.